There is a word in German, lebenslanger Schicksalsschatz. And the closest translation would be lifelong treasure of destiny. Lebenslanger Schicksalsschatz is not something that develops over time. It is something that happens instantaneously. It courses through you like the water of a river after a storm, filling you and emptying you all at once.
I'm coming up only to hold you.
You feel it throughout your body, in your hands,
And coming up only
in your heart,
to show you roll.
in your stomach,
And to know
in
you
your skin.
is hard. We wonder. To know you all wrong. We wonder.
And you're absolutely sure you'll find that someday?
Of course. Everyone does eventually. You just never know when or where.
And he was right. Unfortunately, the when of it was still a little ways down the road. But the where of it?
Really too late to call, so we wait.
So all this started when I returned back to Sioux Falls during winter break, and I decided to work at HuHot again. And my first day back, I met this beautiful girl named Tessa, and from the start, it just felt like I had known this girl for my whole life. It was like coming back to a best friend. Every day I went to work with a smile on my face because it was another day I got to spend with Tessa, and she was just different. I can't really explain how, but she was just different than anybody else I had ever met. A lot of other employees at HuHot noticed how close Tessa and I were right away, and they would make jokes that we were dating in between our shifts. We would sit down and eat lunch together, and that was a date, and that became our joke as well. But then I extended it even further and asked Tessa to marry me as a joke in HuHot, and it's really funny to look back on that because now we're getting married, and 2.5 years ago you never would have thought that was going to happen.
He started flirting, little gestures here and there, lots of food, tokens of his affection, flowers, if I remember correctly once, food, lots of lunch date with Tessa and I, and he also started working a lot more to pick up shifts so that he could be on the same shift as her.
There was something else about her that just really took hold of me. I could not stay away from her. I would pick up shift after shift just so I could work with her. I would stay late even when I wasn't even on the clock anymore. I would just stay just so I could spend a little bit more time with her. And she was just somebody I wanted to be around all the time. She just made me feel something different than anything I had felt for somebody.
You couldn't help but feel happy for him about as far as how things had gone for him over his break, but then of course with Tessa as well. I heard about a girl that was funny. I heard about a girl that was kind. I heard about a girl that made him laugh. I heard about a girl that, you know, really pulled at his heartstrings and really felt like someone that was important to him in such a short period of time. And it really was a case of, I think we found one. I think we found a really good one.
I remember the first moment that I started to realize that I was falling for her, like it was 2 days ago. I got off work from HuHot and we decided to hang out. And we started off the night by driving around Sioux Falls, just looking at different houses and their Christmas lights because, you know, we both really like the Christmas time. So we drove around looking at different houses, making jokes about them, whatnot. And then we ended up at Falls Park, where we drove through the park and got to see all the Christmas lights. And then I asked Tessa if she wanted to go sledding. She said yes, and we ended up going sledding at Spellerberg Park. And even though we didn't really go down the hill like a million times, we only went like 2 or 3 times, it was the fact that she went with me that really pushed me over the edge. I mean, I was falling head over heels for this girl that I had just met. And it's silly to think that, yeah, it's because we went sledding, but at the end of the day, it was also because she made me feel something that I had never felt before. That's when I really knew that this girl was beyond special, and I really wanted her to be in my life for longer than just winter break.
When Tessa told me about when she went sledding, it actually started because I saw in her Snapchat story, again, annoyed because she was ignoring me to hang out with this person who I had not met yet. And so we had talked the next day briefly about it. She told me about how her and Jordyn went out, how it was one of, like, how, just like, what a great time she had with this person.
It was very hard to leave at the end of winter break because I had just met this amazing girl that I could not get enough of. For the first time in my life, I didn't want to leave South Dakota. I didn't want to go back to Florida. And for those of the people that know me, know I tried my hardest to get out of South Dakota. It's what I wanted all growing up, was to leave, and now this girl completely changed that. Everything about her felt perfect for me, and there was no way I was just going to let it go. So even at 1,700 miles away, I decided that I needed to have her in my life. So we started with texting and phone calls, and then we got into FaceTime, and from there it just took off even more than our friendship already had.
I think there was a real genuine sweetness to their conversation and a real joy to their conversations. It was clearly between two people that wanted to be with each other physically, of course, like in the flesh with one another, but at the same time you could tell that it was something that, a good, like I said, a good illustration of two people that wanted to be together. We make time for those people and those things that we deem to be most important, and I think FaceTime for them was their way of showing that to each other.
Tessa and Jordyn's FaceTime relationship was really awesome to see in person, because even though they were hundreds of miles apart, the connection that they had was still so strong. I mean, it was even better than some people's, in-person relationships that they have. And you could still see the care that they had for each other and the want to really talk and be together.
FaceTime was the only way I could really keep feeling that I had when I was with her during winter break. We would spend hours upon hours. I think our record was like 16 hours out of 24, and that's just goes to show you like how much we found each other important. We would give up so many things just to be on the phone with the other person. I would get done with class and immediately FaceTime Tessa. I would get done with my internship, immediately FaceTime Tessa. Any opportunity I had, I FaceTime Tessa, because to me, in that time, she was the most important thing. For me, FaceTime still wasn't enough, so I had decided early in January that I needed to go back and see her again. So I booked a plane ticket, and then I started planning this surprise, which my friends all knew about, but Tessa had no idea. And the biggest part of that surprise was obviously being there, but also this box that I put all these inside jokes from our time in December, and then I also made a CD that was kind of explaining our adventures in December, all inside jokes and such.
We're hanging out. I go over to his place. I walk in the door. The first thing I see is him over at his bed with a package. And I go, hey, what's that? Did you just get some in the mail? He goes, oh, I'm making Tessa a care package. I'm gonna send it to her. And I just kind of look at him. I give him a look. And I said to him, Jordyn, you don't make care packages for girls, or for people for that matter, if you don't love them.
So I flew back to Sioux Falls and I waited outside HuHot for Tessa, and eventually I just said screw it, and I called the office phone and she happened to be in the back and she answered it. Well, I walked through the back door, walked up behind her and stood there until she finally turned around and saw that it was me, and she was so surprised that she had to take a double take, and then she just kind of attacked me. She wrapped her arms around me, and I think we were both so happy to just be around each other instead of through a phone. Again, I was falling head over heels for Tessa, and one of my last nights we went to Denny's and we got hot chocolate, and I took a picture of her and put it on my Instagram story and asked my followers, are we going to get married? And a lot of people said yes. I think it was like 85% of the people said yes. And it's obviously really funny to look back at that moment and realize, as much as that was a joke, here we are 2.5 years getting married. And again, I don't think me or Tessa really could have told you that this was even an option. Neither of us had really thought this would happen. Then I flew back to Florida, and I really didn't know how to feel because I didn't know what was going to happen. I spent the next couple nights with my friends and whatnot and still FaceTiming Tessa. One night,
It's a random Tuesday. We're sitting in my apartment and Tessa gives him a call. We talk. Of them going back and forth saying, no, you don't know how much I care about you. No, you don't know how much I care about you. I love you so much. Nah, you have no idea how much I love you. And I'm sitting there going, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, there was clearly something there. And Jordyn and I had previously had these conversations. You know, do you think she likes you? No, I don't think so. Are you sure? You guys FaceTime for like 12 hours a day. You are clearly doing something here. There's no way you guys can, there's no way there's nothing there.
After this incident, I was like, all right, I need to tell her. So we had another inside joke where we had this email chain that was called the Sled Thugs of Sioux Falls, and we had been joking around back and forth. So I took it upon myself to write this long email about how I fell in love with her and how I felt about her, and I sent it even though I didn't know how she felt. I didn't know if she would like me back. I was honestly terrified because I really didn't think a girl as special as Tessa would feel that way about somebody like me.
She was very, very happy. I think she knew right away that Jordyn was probably the one and only, and it's just so much fun to see Tessa happy with life.
Tessa and Jordyn, I've always kind of felt like they were meant to be together from the start because of the connection that they had. I mean, it's just almost indescribable, the kind of unspoken connection that they both share. And I mean, it's almost just like something out of a movie.
He went from a dude in school to a man. I think he's gone from a boy to a man. I think just being with her has really taught him what it means to be a man and what it means to be a loving, caring dude. You know, I think sometimes it takes a woman or a man, whoever it might be, to enter your life to really show anything and everything about you and really morph you into the man or the woman that you're trying to be.
Tessa and Jordyn work well together because Tessa's a very giving person. She's very, like, she's all in and she feels everything very hard. Like, that's always been Tessa. I feel like Jordyn has very similar qualities, but not quite to the extent, so they mesh well together because they're always able to, like, understand what each other's dealing with or what each other's feeling.
You know, at first I worried about relationships because, number one, I never want to ever see Tessa hurt. She means so much to me, but that will never happen. I mean, she's so into this relationship. I know she will, do her best to work at it and keep it strong. And I know it's gonna work.
Jordyn is one of the most caring, compassionate guys you're ever gonna meet. He would give you anything and everything to make sure that you were taken care of. He would give you the shirt off his back, he would give you his pants, he'd give you his socks, give you the undies if he had to.
Tessa and Jordyn, they just complement each other well. Like, their personalities are very similar, but yet there's enough difference there.
And I couldn't be more happy for him that he has found his person. And, I wish them nothing but joy, nothing but happiness. And I can't wait to see where this road leads for him.
I have always been Tessa's person. Jordyn is Tessa's person. Like, they go well together.
Jordyn's always been a really nice and fun guy, but after he met Tessa, he was just that much more happy and ecstatic all the time. I mean, he was on cloud 9.
To see my best friend meet her second best friend and just her person, and I'm just so excited to see the life that they'll grow together and how much they'll continue to grow together, because they're both just incredible people.
Again, it all stems from his time working at a Mongolian Grill back in Sioux Falls.
You'll never ever know how much I love you and only want the very best for both you and Jordyn. I love you both.
I promise to be your person forever and ever until the end of time. I love you, Tessa.